Hi and welcome to one of my many other tutorials. This tutorial focuses on mandatory profiles. Now, a mandatory user profile is a special type of pre-configured Roman user profile that communicates and allow the administrator to specify settings for the users. With mandatory user profiles, a user can modify his or her desktop, but the changes are not saved when the user logs off. The next time the user logs on, the mandatory user profile created by the administrator is downloaded. User profiles become mandatory profiles when the administrator renames the entiuser.dat file, which is a registry file, on the server to the entiuser.man. The .man extension causes a user profile to be a read-only profile. Now there are two types of profiles that is mandatory. That is the normal mandatory profiles and the super mandatory profiles. Users with mandatory profiles can log on with locally cached copy of the mandatory profile, right? And the super mandatory, however, they are similar to the mandatory profile with the exception that the user cannot log on when the server that stores the mandatory profile is unavailable. User profiles become super mandatory when the folder name of the file path ends in .man. Now with all this that I'm talking about, you wouldn't understand it unless I actually demonstrate what I'm talking about. So you see this user.dat files and .man files. Let's look at it. So the first thing we want to do is to create a profile share. So click on start, go to computer, go to your C drive, and let's create a folder in here. New folder. And I'm going to call that folder M for mandatory profile. In creating this folder, I'm going to check out the settings. So you're going to right click, and we're going to go to properties. And we're going to click on sharing. Advanced sharing. And I want to share this folder. But I don't want it to show up. So we're going to put that sign there so it doesn't show up. We're going to go into permissions and we're going to remove everyone. We're going to add some authenticated. Let's go. Check names. So we have some authenticated users. And we want to give them read permission only. We're going to click on apply. And we're going to click on OK. Next, I want to go back again and I want to add some other users. Let's add some domain admins. Check names. See, there they are. Click on OK. And I want to give the domain admins full control. Click on apply and we're going to click on OK. Now after doing all of this, you will see as before, like when we did Roman profiles and home folders, your network path. That we'll come back to a little later. I'm going to close this here. And let's go to Start, Administrative Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers. So here you see we have users. I want to create a user. So you're going to go on New, User, and let's create a user. I think I'm going to call it Mandatory. So I'm creating this user called Mandatory. And I'm going to click on Next, create a password. Password never expires. Okay. I'm going to click on Next. So here we have our full name, mandatory, our user logon name, mandatory at Cecily.com. That's my domain. And my password never expires. Let's click on Finish. So here you see the user that we created. I'm gonna right click on that user. And what I'm gonna do is add it to a group because I want to make it a member of the admin group. So I'm gonna click on add to a group, and let's look for the group here. So I'm gonna add it to the administrators. So here you see the add to group operation was successfully completed, and I click on OK. And I want to log off. Start, and I'm going to log off. So let's see if this has actually been created. Click on switch user, other user. Normally you sign in with your domain name / the username. So for tutorial sake we will do that. So my domain name, although you've seen it, log on to Cecily, CECILY / mandatory. So I'm logging in as mandatory. That is the profile or the user that I just created. Okay, so now that I've logged in as mandatory, let's see start. So there I am, mandatory. Let's make a quick change on the desktop. So you're gonna click on new folder, and I'm gonna name this folder option. So under my mandatory profile, I have a folder called option on the desktop. So let's log off, and we're gonna log in as the administrator. Let's log in now as the administrator. Switch user. Switch user. Other user. So I'm gonna log in as the administrator. Okay, so now that I've logged in as the administrator, let's see, start. Here it is. I've logged in as the administrator. You notice that this folder that I created recently is not there. So let's go again. We're gonna go to start, computer, go to the C drive, go down to users, and here we have our user mandatory. So we're not gonna go into it, but we're gonna click on organize, and we're gonna come down to folder and search options. We're gonna click on view, and we're gonna ensure that it is saying show hidden files and folders, hide extensions for known file types, hide protected operating system files, ensure that they don't have a tick next to it. The only thing that should be highlighted is show hidden files and folders. You apply that and you click on OK. Next, we're gonna go back to our users here, and we wanna copy this file. So once you copy this file, we're gonna go back to our C drive, and we're gonna paste it in our folder that we created, which is M profile. Now that we've pasted it, I want to rename it. So you're gonna rename this folder .v2. And we're gonna open a file in it. So this is the file here. Remember I was talking about the end user dot deity dot, and I want to change that to dot man as I was describing earlier on. So in order to do that, click on start, go to run, type in reg, start edit, click on OK. You go to your local machine, go to file, load hive. So there you've loaded your hive on your local machine. Let's go to profile. Where's our profile? Here it is. Right, and we've got our mandatory.v2 file. Gonna load this. And we're gonna give it a name. Tory. Click on OK. Now mandatory shows up here, as you can see. Gonna right click on that, go to permissions, and we're gonna remove all of these. Remove. And we're gonna add now our authenticated users. And we're gonna give them read and full control. That is for our authenticated users. We're gonna give them for sure read and full control, and then we're gonna click on advanced. When we click on advanced, we're gonna click on replace all. Are you seeing it? Right. Replace all existing inheritable permissions on all descendants with inheritable permissions from this object. So we're just replacing all the info. Click on apply. Yes. Click on OK. And we're gonna apply. Yes. Okay, no problem with that. So you're gonna click here and go on OK. Yes. Okay. Then we're gonna go on apply here and OK. Go to file, unload hive. Are you sure you want to unload the current key and all of its subkeys? Yes. So we unload the hive. We're gonna go back to our mandatory.v2 profile, and we're gonna go to here, cancel that, right click, and we're gonna rename it. And we're gonna put there dot man, capital letters please. If you change your file name extension, the file may become unusable. Yes. Yes. So it's now a .man file. And you can go ahead and delete all the others except this here, INE, and the man file. So all of these here, it's not necessary, so we can get rid of all of that. Right, so we'll be working with these two files. We go on app data and we will delete the local files. let's see what it has in the local files. So you see, go back, let's delete that. So now that has been deleted. Let's go back to our file here. Let's find it. Right. So you go back to our mandatory V2 file, go down to properties, go to security, click on advanced, and we're gonna change permissions. Okay, so we are applying the security towards this mandatory V2 here that we have on top here, right? So obviously we would have clicked on advanced as you see in here, and we're going to change the permissions. So we're going to uncheck this here, and we're going to remove, right? And we're going to apply and click on yes, okay. Gonna go back here, properties, add, and who do you want to add? We're gonna add domain admins. Alright, there we go. Click OK. And we're gonna give them full control. Click OK. And we wanna add authenticated users. And to their list of controls, we wanna add right. Create. Click OK. And we're gonna remove nobody. Let's see, edit. Right, everything is good there. Close that. Effective permissions. Right, so here we are looking at everything, auditing, owner, and click OK. And we click on OK. Now the next thing I want to do is to create policies to activate the mandatory profiles. So we're gonna so in creating the policy to activate the mandatory profiles, we click on start, go to group policy management, which you'll get in administrative tools. Go to group policy management. So then here you see my forest. Gonna go down to group policy object. So let's expand this so that you can see it. You're gonna go down to group policy object. New. So here we are. So we had group policy objects. We're gonna right click. We're gonna click on new. And let's see, what am I gonna name it? I'm gonna name it mandatory profile settings. mandatory profile settings, and I'm gonna click on OK. Here it is. I'm gonna click on that, right click, edit, computer configuration, see it's opening up. Here we have administrative templates, Windows components. Let's open it up so you can see it properly. So after creating our group policies to activate the mandatory profiles, you can go back to, you see, start, computer, local C drive, where is it, profile, properties, let's go back here, let's copy that, click OK. Let's see now, right click, properties, gonna go into sharing, share, see that it's being shared, and van sharing, so we're seeing everything here. So there it is, seeing everything being done. Click on OK, click on close. Okay, and so ends our mandatory profile. Thank you very much.